All right. Well, thank you as always for being here, and thank you for being online. I appreciate it. And announcements as always, please remember this photo evaluation. Please rate my performance if you haven't done it yet. That's very important for my portfolio once I apply for training, right? And that's very important. Actually, some students believe that we don't, that the administration doesn't take into account the comments. They do. If somebody says something very, very bad about a professor, that professor will likely not get a thing, right? So if it's something about the method that is kind of what kind of weird or not the best, hey Larry, yeah,
What time you want me to come back?
can you come back in? I don't know. How much time do you need?
Only 10 minutes.
Only 10 minutes. Well, you can come now.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have time, yeah. Or it can be later.
Yeah, why don't you do, I need about 10 minutes set up, so
yeah.
I know you're working on it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
So yeah, he's gone. That's nice. So as I said, yeah, this photo evaluation is good. Well, it's not good, it's not perfect. It has only like 4 items and 3 spaces for open-ended questions. It's not the best, but well, it's what we have. But yeah, please do it. The other thing is that after I submit your grades, you will get a link to answer a survey. That survey is mine. It's about your perception of the class more in depth, and it's the second part of the first survey that you fill out. And remember, some of you probably fill out the survey time 1, right? So now I'm doing like a post test, right? So I want to see the change in your opinion after all this time. It might have to change, it might be worse, or it might be good, I don't know. But that's the idea, to do a time 2 survey where I can see if something has changed, right, in your opinion, or how you perceive R or statistics in general, right? So, of course, it's voluntarily. You don't have to answer the survey because it's going to be after the grades are posted. So you actually, I can't give you points or anything like that. You're not getting anything out of filling that. But for me, it's useful because I can improve more. For example, how I deliver R. Little by little, I've been doing improvements. It was worse before, believe me. Oh yeah, you're gonna be thinking, wow, man, it was worse. Probably was a nightmare. But yeah, it was worse before. It was way worse. But it is getting better by adding more tools and things that you can use on. And what else should I tell you? Yeah, I think those are the only things that I want to inform you. So remember, today is the last class. You don't have to come the next week, right? Today is our last lecture. That doesn't mean that we cannot have meetings, right? And we can have meetings online all the time. If you have questions about the assignments, right? It's totally fine. And then you might be thinking, why today is the last class? Well, because that's how I scheduled that in the calendar. And if you check the calendar that is on the syllabus, this is listed as the last class, and the following class is the following week is for doing your exam, the take-home exam, right? So that's why. And of course, we could have more lectures if you want. We could have another lecture on Tuesday, but I believe it's better if you work on these exercises at home. And of course, you send me emails or messages, or we can have meetings the next week if you are struggling with something on the assignment. But I believe you will be able to handle this because it's very similar to other assignments, right? All right. While I wait for Larry, let's continue with the steps on question number 4. Well, actually, question number 4 was already answered. Let me just check carefully right here where we were at. Oh, yes, we were starting the moderation model. Yes. So, only to refresh your minds, in question number 4, what I was asking you was to estimate a model, right? And actually you can see it here in the syntax, where block design was your outcome, right? And our predictors were oxygen level and the score on the Stroop test, right? And we saw that, yeah, both are actually related to block design, right? And the slope, this is the standardized slope. This is a solution that is fully standardized. And the previous one actually, I didn't add, well, if you don't want the fully standardized solution, just delete this part, right? The scale, the part that says scale. Well, you can keep the scale part because it's easier to interpret, right? So now that they're standardized, you can see that Stroop color has a bigger weight on the explanation, right, compared to VO2 peak, right, which is nice. And this slope is not explained by chance, right? Any of these slopes are explained by chance. So that's good. So that's telling me that, yeah, there's a relationship as I was expecting, but now, given that the idea is to fit or to estimate a moderation model, we need to ask ourselves, first, if I'm thinking that there could be an interaction between these two predictors, which variable could be a moderator? What do you think? Remember, a moderator is a variable, is something that modifies the relationship between X and Y. So what do you think could be the moderator here? Could be your score in this true color or the level of oxygen. What do you think? People online can talk to. We can hear you.
Oxygen?
Yes, it's oxygen. But why? Why oxygen? What do you think?
Yes, I mean, that it's affecting your brain.
That's right. That's correct. That's correct. That explanation goes through that path, right? The thing is that, of course, remember that this measured VO2 peak is an approximation or an indicator of cardiovascular fitness. How good is your heart? If your heart is good, you have more oxygen overall in your system. And of course, your brain is going to work better. Yes, that's right. Right? The whole system, the whole body is going to work better if your heart is better. Just by improving the amount of oxygen that you can take when you are doing exercise, right? That will make the whole score better, right? Any cognitive score is going to be higher if you do exercise all the time. That effect is very solid. You can see it in young people, in older adults. If you do physical activity and you have a very good score, a very good VO2 peak, you will see that your score goes up, right? That's something that is very, very, very robust in all publications, right? So yeah, VO2 peak is the modulator. What does it mean? It means that, and let me just draw here, probably. Larry's coming. Yeah. Let's give some minutes for Larry.
Don't worry, guys. I'll be quick. You're like, why?
Most of the people are online, so that's why you see less people here because this is a hybrid. So some people are online. Do you have a computer?
Yeah, I need to use.
Oh, I can use mine.
Yeah, I just want to put my
Yes, we're here. Here, because this one is the one that I'm using for presentation.
Okay, great.
Yeah, no worries.
That in there.
Yeah.
All right. So
And yours and my finger.
now, guys, my friend is the guy I go to when I need quantitative advice. When I do my research, I have a quantitative problem. I come in and say, hey, Esteban, I have a problem. Now I have to do quantitative stuff of my own research. But he's the expert at it. And I go, wow.
Well, thank you for that.
No, it's true. It's true. Now I need to get to the drive. So
Yeah, I already opened the folder. It's
you open the folder. Where did you open the folder?
I mean, your USB drive is already open
Oh
there.
yeah, let me date modified. Yeah.
Yes.
As you can see, I'm not as quantitative gifted as your instructor.
Come on.
So hopefully your touch tone is really sensitive.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know why.
The computer has been like that for a while.
It's been like this for a while.
Oh yeah, but
Maybe it doesn't like me.
yeah.
It doesn't like me. It needs to be a better pet, you know? Because I'm trying to get to the top, and so I can
That's the top actually.
no, because I want to click for the date modified.
Oh yeah.
I want
Right
to
here.
yeah.
Let me
Click a date. Let's click date modify
Yes.
so I can get to the top. So I can get to the top. There you go. And just click the top folder.
This one.
There you go. Top where it says by
Okay, cool.
all right. You can put it on a slideshow.
Oh yes, of course.
All right. I won't take too much of your time. I appreciate taking 10 minutes of your time, enable the content. So
Yeah, I tried that, but it's kind of frozen.
frozen. Oh,
Yeah.
because we won't be able to run the video. The video is the best part.
Oh no.
You get to see me look like the scarecrow.
Wait, I want to stop
I
sharing.
get to look like the scarecrow.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
I don't know what's going on. You know, that's why I don't like Windows too much.
Yeah, Windows is horrible.
Yeah.
Are you psych students? All right. It's a great field.
I don't know what's going on.
Oh wow. What is really going on?
Let me just do. I will need to. Yeah, I just allow me to take anything.
It's frozen.
Let me see if I can just do both
Cool.
of those.
You might have to close it and open it.
Yeah, let me just try it again.
Now, how many of you guys are going to pursue graduate work after you get out of here? You. Most of you going to pursue graduate. Why you not going to pursue graduate? You haven't figured it out yet?
Yeah, time's not on my side.
Well, time.
I'm an older student.
And I was an older student when I got my doctorate. So it's never too late.
Yeah, it's never too late. I can't think that far ahead.
No, and you don't. But you take it one day at a time.
Yeah, one day at a time.
You take it one day at a time. I worked in corporate. I'll introduce myself while he's fixing it. My name is obviously Larry Barnes, you see from the slide. I'm a professor in accounting. Esteban and I came in at the same time. This is our third year here. Just like Esteban, we are experienced professionals before we came into academia.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously taught in the University of Wisconsin system for about 7 years before I came here. I have about 17 years of corporate experience. And when I did corporate finance and corporate accounting, I was a treasurer of a municipality. So I am a rare breed around here who have basically business experience and before I came into academia. So that's why we get along pretty well, because as practitioners, we understand what it's like to do theory and practitioner work. So that's why we get along fabulously, even though, and we've done interdisciplinary research together. So and we believe in it, and I personally don't like the way education is being taught as in a silo, because in real life everything is interrelated. And when you get out there, if obviously you've been working, you see everything is interrelated. When you work, everything is interrelated, because that's how problems are being solved. So that's kind of my thing. But I won't spare you because you need to get back to your, it's the end of the semester. So I'm here about the Volunteer Income Tax Assistant Program. And VITA was founded in 1971 at Cal State Northridge. It's a grant program sponsored by the IRS. And it's run through various nonprofit partnership organizations. And obviously, for us, the United Way and the Community Partnership for Families of San Joaquin families are our partners. And why are we doing this? The main campus in Turlock started this in the 1990s. And we started our first one last year. We had our flagship last year. So, and, you know, why would we want to do this? You know, why do we want to give free tax service, right? And why am I coming to you as PSYC students, right? Why am I coming to you? And that's the most important thing. You're like, why don't you go to the business students? I have. And you'll get, when I go through the presentation, you'll understand why. You know, there's a lot of roles here. There's greeters, there's intake specialists, there's tax preparers, there's quality review specialists, but one thing that's a given is there's no prior tax experience needed. You'll be trained, whatever role you want to do. Your only goal is you have to have a passion to serve your community, right? I mean, most of you guys are from the community, right?
Right.
Right? And obviously most of you guys love your community. These are your friends, your neighbors, all your peoples. And this is a way to give back. And also attain a skill that you can use for yourself, right? So we allow that to happen, right? Now, for the business students, we give them opportunities to get practical experience so they can get references, so they can get their internships and get jobs. But having an opportunity to serve is a vital thing, and it looks good for any occupation because employers like students coming out who serve, right? It shows responsibility, you know, it looks good, right? And it makes you feel good when you see people in your community getting something of value to yourself, right? And I'm opening it up because, and it comes when Esteban and I did our part of our group, our interdisciplinary research, we found out that we were better when we brought different types of disciplines together, right? Because we all had different specialties and we all had different layers of thought, right? Right? We're all pretty smart people. Probably all already thought we were smarter than we really were, right? But but when we were together, we put together some pretty good stuff, man. And we came out respecting each other even more, and we actually learned from each other. And the experience I got from that was, hey, I need to bring more people, different type of people, because groupthink is not good, right? Because it's a lot of smart people out there, and I'm missing out on other people, right? And as an educator, I want the best, because my ego wants me to have the best people out there, right? Because I care about the community, right? Why does Stanislaus say have a program? Because we are an anchor institution. And what is an anchor? Like a ship has an anchor. Anchor keeps things steady, right? Steady. And if you think about it, what does the anchor do? We provide services for our community. We obviously here, you're getting trained, right? So you can move on to bigger and better things. Education provides a paradigm shift in your careers, right? Right? We employ a lot of our students. You'll notice a lot of young people working here now in the last couple of years. The dean has hired a lot of young people, right? Walk to walk, talk to talk. Are all these people going to be here the rest of their life? No, but they'll get their start here and they'll be able to use this as a springboard to go bigger and better things, right? And you buy services from people in the community, right? So as an anchor, you're a conduit for other things, right? So that's why we are doing VITA, because we're telling the community, we care about you, right? And we want you to care about us, right? Make sense? And obviously, it also affects, obviously, student learning. And that's what VITA is, student learning. You learn something with it, right? And that's what, as an educator, I'm all about learning. And I learn, right? Because taxes is not my specialty. And I gave up the tax specialty because guess what? I wanted the customers to have the best program. So I brought in a tax specialist, right? I could have let my ego run wild and go, oh, I got this PhD, I'm really smart. But you know who got hurt? The community, right? So I gave up that control, right? Because if you really care about people, you gotta set your ego aside and you gotta make sure that things are done right and the people who you serve, the students who you're responsible for, get the best training humanly possible, right? Right? And obviously, these were our student volunteers. See, some of them, that was last year, the middle of February. We ran it for 6.5 hours. I'm trying to get enough students so I can run about 3.5-hour shifts. So just not enough time to waste all your day. I don't want to burn students out, right? Enough time for you can serve, but enough time for you can have the rest of your day, right? That's the most important thing, you to serve, but I mean, last year, these young people did a marvelous job because they burned the candle way, way too much, right? But you'll notice we did almost 450 returns. We almost have $1 million of value to the Stockton community. So that was great for the first year. People could pay their bills and all that kind of stuff. That's value to the community. That's showing Stockton that we care about you. We care about our friends and our neighbors, right? And that's pretty much. And you see the comments about participants. And the last thing I want to show you is the video. And obviously, this person's ID.
Oh, I don't know. Let's see if
It's gonna run.
If the audio will work.
With audio gonna run?
Let me configure that very quickly.
You gonna figure it out? Oh,
Yes.
that'll figure out. It's the best part, man.
Yes, it's just.
I get to look like a scarecrow. I lost a lot of weight. I was working so hard. But I hope that you guys will at least try to volunteer for a couple weekends. I'm not asking for the world. You know what I mean? Whatever time you can give it, right? We know people are working, people have families, people have jobs, everything, right? This is a call to arms. I really, obviously, I've given a lot of my time and effort. I ain't getting a dime for this. And I put about 200, 300 hours into this thing.
VITA and Volunteer Tax Assistance Program. We have been very happy this year that we've been able to launch a site here at Stanislaus State Stockton campus. Dr. Larry Barnes, our accounting professor, has partnered with our community partners, United Way, and Community Partnership for Families to make this possible.
United Way's role is to help promote and educate the California Earned Income Tax Credits, as well as the Volunteer Income Tax Assistant Program here in the county. As the local convener, it's critical for us to help spread awareness about free tax prep services here in the county, as well as the various tax credits that taxpayers can be eligible for. Tax credits are so important because they can help reduce the amount owed, as well as potentially increase the taxpayer's refund.
To the refunds they get, they can use it to pay their rent, buy groceries. It does a lot from an economic development standpoint.
It's a lifesaver. We tried to do our taxes. They're so complicated and convoluted. We didn't really know half what they were asking us. I like to think that I'm intelligent, but it's a specialized field.
VITA is a critical program. This can be life-changing for families.
As we hone in on our anti-poverty measures, it was critical for us to really expand the VITA services here in the community. So we leveraged our partnerships and worked with community partnerships for families and Stanislaus State to add an additional VITA site to the Stockton area and really invest in the financial stability and success of individuals and communities here in San Joaquin County.
We have about 10 student volunteers and 4 professional volunteers, so we got 14 volunteers overall. They get hands-on experience.
So it builds their resume, it gives them another certification and training that they've completed, and then they go back and serve within their community. And so not only does it grow education in our community, it also grows economic impact in our community.
Next year, we hope to expand our VITA services with the Stanislaus State campus, as well as other local campuses, financial institutions, and nonprofit organizations so that we can make the largest impact here in the community.
All right. Before I want to go, is anybody thinking they will be interested in doing it? I must have a sign-up sheet here.
Good. Let me see if I have a pen. I have a pen in my
You have a pen?
office. In my office.
You got a pen in the office? If not, I got one. And I have applications here. If you can leave them for,
Let me turn off the lights so you can.
I have applications here.
You can write that. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
I have applications. So,
Yes.
and you can leave them with, that's fine.
Oh, clarifications here.
Anybody else? You said you were? You said you were?
Yeah, I will also help you if I have time. I need to learn more about taxes, you know?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, as a foreigner, it's really hard.
And no, we bring somebody, a specialist in to teach people. I don't, it's not my specialty. I gave that up.
I should attend to the meetings.
I hate people who, it was up to me to teach you, you'd be in trouble.
Dr. Barnes, what were the positions of interest or?
You could be,
let
it's
us
a
know?
greeter, you can be a greeter, you can be an intaker, you can be a
Check if.
inputter. I'll leave this for you. I mean, here.
Candace, do
Okay,
you have a pen? Right. Oh,
here you go. And you can just leave them for him, and he'll put them in my mailbox.
all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time and good luck. And you know what, what I'm interested in, and I'll talk to Esteban about it, is there are some studies that we might want to run in regards to how students feel about preparing taxes and doing some quant work so we can get some journal things done. So I'm really into trying to build people's resumes. So he has the quantitative skill, I got the imagination, and we can kind of figure out between him and I how to make this work where you guys can work it and get a paper out of it. Now that's out.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, that's good. See, I'm thinking. Cause especially guys who want to go look in the job market and or want to go to grad school, get a nice little paper out of this. That might be good, and because we're gonna run it for 8 weeks, we can set up a simple model and just run the model and do all the a simple. What are you teaching? What kind of models? What kind of quant stuff you teaching us?
Oh, a lot of things. I mean, from regression, the structural regression modeling.
Oh, you teach them everything. Okay, we can
Yeah.
we can work. We can work.
Yeah.
We can do business with that. Yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate everything. I look forward to it. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Question, how about the training, like if you help people prepare the test, you need training, right?
Yeah, I mean, the training. We got training. You said no experience.
Okay.
If you once you sign up, I'm gonna send you some training dates. The training dates are in January,
January.
and it's 4 days in January. It's 4 days in January.
Will the training be here?
It'll be here.
Oh.
It'll be a Stanislaus. Yes, ma'am.
I saw
Okay.
some dates here.
It'll be in January. Yeah, all training will be here at Stanislaus State. In one of the classrooms. Yes, ma'am.
Are you gonna actually meet us any day of the week or are there particular days?
We probably, all the days that we run the program is Saturdays.
And
We only run it on Saturdays.
that's the only day we need to be available.
Yeah, on Saturdays. Saturdays, we run Saturdays.
Do you have the digital version of the application form? Because I have some students online.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you.
I can share the form on Canvas so they can
I'll
just.
send it to you.
Yes.
Could I get this full one?
Yeah, you can.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate it.
And I'm serious about doing the project. We'll talk about it
Yes.
because I really want you guys to get something concrete out of it.
Mhm.
And we can think about questions, because we can either do it from a student perspective, or a student prepared perspective, or we can do it from a the tax client perspective, right? And we can run it that way, right? And that way you can get a chance to get real life data, and that'll be something very interesting that we can run, okay? Put that in my mailbox, please.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it,
Yes.
guys. That's for you guys.
And give you some time. You need time to fill out that. If I explain something, you might miss it. So take your time. Yeah, it's good if you volunteer. It's gonna be good. This place is full of people when we do this. A lot of people from the community come here. So yeah, and it's busy. Those are very busy days here on campus when we do the tax program. So as you might imagine, many people need help with that. And yeah, it's good because you will learn a lot from the IRS experts. Yeah.
Does anyone else need this?
Let me.
I didn't say.
Oh, great.
Thanks.
Now I'm prepared. So that is. So this is my y-axis and x-axis, right? So let's make the right notations in this plot. Here, instead of calling this y and x, let's actually make this more meaningful. So our outcome is block designs. So I'm gonna use just block like this. I wanna, well, yeah, I made it. Let's call it block, right? And this is a C. Just imagine that's a C letter, right? And our Y variable, our outcome, our main outcome is stroke color, right? So we have a stroke in our x-axis. Sorry about that, I'm very bad at writing letters with these two. But you got it. That's true, right? If you don't have a moderator, right? If you don't have any moderator, if you don't have any hypothesis about moderation, the line of best fit looks like this, right? You would see a relationship between stroke and block design. And you will have a hypothesis about it, say, hey, if I have a larger score in stroke color task, I will have also a larger score in block design without moderator. But when you have a moderator, in this case, what we have is the oxygen level, right? The maximum level of oxygen that you can have in your lungs. When that happens, I'm gonna here moderator is VO2 peak, right? When that happens, we are interested on, let me change the color, on seeing different slopes at different levels of VO2 peak. Why? Because moderation is about possible changes in the relationship between X and Y. Moderation means that you believe the relationship between X and Y is different at different levels of your moderation. That's what it means, moderation, right? Which is totally different from mediation. We didn't have time to cover mediation in detail here, but I decided to focus more on moderation, which is very common in seminars. When you take seminars, I have seen that the students come to my class with moderation hypothesis, but they don't know what is moderation, but they have the idea in their minds, and I'm like, oh, that's moderation. So this saves me time. If you take the class, I don't have to explain this anymore. So now you kind of know a little bit of, no, I will explain more about moderation for sure in the seminar. Because some of my students didn't take my class or didn't take this class, so probably I will have to revisit that topic later, which is fine. But yeah, so in moderation, we want to see how is the relationship between block designs and stroke when you are high on VO2 peak. What it means high? That means that your physical fitness is better, right? If you have a larger score in VO2 peak, you breathe better, you have more oxygen, and you can run better, you can run longer distance, you can handle, and it is actually a good indicator of inflammation. VO2 peak is also correlated with inflammation. When you have a good cardiovascular fitness, your indicators of inflammation decrease, right? Even that. Exercise really helps on many things that we do, right? So we want to see the relationship between stroke and blood design when I'm high on VO2 peak. We also want to see the relationship of stroke and blood design when I'm average or I'm closer to the mean in VO2 peak, right? When my VO2 peak score is close to the mean, well, how is the relationship, right? Is it positive? Is it negative? I don't know, right? And also, I want to see the relationship between block design and stroke when I'm low. This is a minus sign. When I'm low in VO2 peak. So what happens when people have a low VO2 peak? How is the relationship between block design and stroke? Right? That's the main point of moderation. We want to see if the relationship remains the same at different levels of our moderator. And of course, you can replace the moderator with whatever you want. Well, not whatever you want, but at least something that makes sense, right? So instead of VO2 peak, you could be using, for example, you could use IQ, right? You could use any measure of intelligence, and that could be your moderator, right? Or, for example, instead of VO2 peak, you can use gender. What happens that you believe that there is a differential performance depending on gender? There could be, right? There could be something there. I don't think there's something meaningful in here for by gender, to be honest. That's why I didn't add gender. Because to be honest, I don't think there's anything. I haven't tested out. There could be something. I don't know. but I don't think so. I'm not expecting anything different. But yeah. Oh, and another thing, you can have multiple moderators in one single equation. You could use, and you could even do a three-way moderation. You could have, for example, a moderation by VO2 peak and by gender at the same time. But of course, let's do baby steps. Let's just handle only one. And this should be enough for this program. But in a master's or PhD program, probably you might want to do this in a more comprehensive way, right? But for undergraduate level, it's fine. All right. So, given this explanation, let's come back to the assignment and let me delete this one. Oh, we are already done. Okay. So, yeah, Larry talks a lot, I know. He's very friendly, you know? He's a very nice guy. I love him. I really love him. He's an amazing person. As a human being, he's amazing. And his students love him. But he talks a lot. Yes, I know. But he's nice to work with him, actually. And we came together to this university. So let's do this. I run out of time.
We still have time. We're
It's
not
just
out
the
till
break
11:50.
time.
Oh,
It's only 10:55.
oh yes, that's true. Yes,
Yeah, that was our
let's
break
continue.
time.
Was break time, yeah. But no, we shouldn't have a break, I believe.
No,
Yeah. That's true. Thank you. I'm losing my mind today.
yeah, we end at 11:45.
Yes, that's true.
11:50.
11:50.
11:50. Yeah. Oh, nice. That's good news. Yeah, let's continue. So I was gonna say that explanation was necessary because in question 5, I'm asking you to draw a picture. It says, it is possible that VO2 peak could be a moderator in the relationship between block design and structure color. Check slide number 5, you can click here, and then create a conceptual model for this model. Add a figure to your answer. So if you click here, you will see this picture, right? So what I'm asking you is to do the same picture, but replace the names with the variables that we are using, right, in this model. So, and we can do it right now. What variable should we put here instead of stress? It's true, yes, that's right. And what variable is our output? Score. And it's from what?
Block score.
The block score, yes, exactly, block design score, that's correct. And what is our moderator? VO2, right? Yes, that's what you have to do. Yes. And in here, I gave you an option. You can use this software. You don't have to. It's an open source free software. You just click there, and you just click next. It's totally open source and free. And in case you don't want to use Word or anything like that, and in here you can just add squares here, right? A couple of squares. And then you can draw lines right here. Another line here. Oh, don't do that. I need to do that. And just keep it straight. And this one right here. I just change the settings here. And in here, you just double click and type your text. And how do you share this? Well, there are several options. And you can go to File and just export this as a PNG or GPG file, or even better, you can go to Publish and there's a link. You say Create, Copy, and look at that. If I open this in a new tab, I need to do this just because I haven't done it in this computer. All right. And look at that. It generates a link for your drawing, and you can share this link on the assignment, and I can go to the link and see your draw. You don't have to add the actual picture, right? You can just generate a link and just paste the link, right? If that's easier for you and saves time. I believe it could save some time. So, or you can just use Word or Google Docs. It doesn't matter. It's just another tool that I'm giving you there, just in case you want to use it. I use it a lot because I can generate a link, and I use it for my presentations and many things. It's way more convenient for me to have it in my cloud instead of having it in my computer. Okay. So this picture that I showed you before, this one right here, is something that we call the analytical model, right? The analytical model helps to understand what is the idea behind the mathematics. That's the idea of the analytical model, right? But this is not what we are going to analyze. We need a representation of what we really need. And this is question number 7. It says, check figure 2 in slide 5. You may click here. After studying this figure, create an analytical figure corresponding to the previous model. So if you go here and you see figure number 2, it looks like this. Tell me.
Now, a super important thing that your numbers are off on the assignment, just so people don't get confused.
Let me see.
You have like 6 and 7.
Oh, yeah, correct.
Just so people don't get confused, because when you copy it,
Yes, the numbers that are right are the ones inside the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't change. Yeah, I'm gonna correct that.
No, it's okay. I just don't want people to write the wrong thing.
No, you're right. You're correct. You're correct. Yeah, I'm gonna change that. Yes, I'm gonna change it later. Well, thank you for letting me know. Yes, I was writing this very late, and when I change one part, the other part doesn't change automatically. Yeah, but thank you. All right. So I was showing you this figure right here. So this figure is better because it's telling you what you are really gonna model in the equation. It's telling you that there is a predictor x, right? And we have an outcome y. We have another predictor that is z, but we use a different letter. Why? Because z is our moderator. Normally, we would use x1, x2, x3, x4, like I do all the time here, right? You see that when I have multiple predictors or multiple independent variables, I use x1, x2, x3, right? But in here, we are not doing that. What we are doing is call it z, because z is the moderator. It's a way to represent the model, so you communicate that you are trying to analyze the moderator, right? It's just a convention that we have in statistics for moderation. And also, you see another term, which is the multiplication of these two, right? So let's change this figure, and let's create one for our model. You don't have to draw the triangle for this one right here. You don't have to, even though they're important. And the triangle represents the intercept. So it's telling you that y is going to have an intercept. And also the e sub y is residual error. So that's the portion of variance that you cannot explain by the model. That little circle right there. Right? But you don't have to draw it for the answer. If you want to, you can do it. It would be more precise, more accurate to draw it like that, but you don't have to. So let's do it for our model. Just
where are you getting these notes? What area are the notes from?
Oh, and if you go to the assignment, well,
Oh, okay. I'm in the assignment. Yeah.
yes, and you click here.
Oh, okay. 7.
Yes, where it says question 7. Well, question 6 is in reality. This is question 6. The box is wrong. And then you click here, it will take you to the slide.
I got it.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Where it was? Yes, I was gonna draw this. So let's draw a figure for this answer. And let me just draw this one. And let me click this one. I don't like these boxes. I like when they're really square. Yeah. Let's see here. So our x variable was, I told you was true, right? This is our X. We also have a moderator, which is VO2 peak, right? Our level of oxygen. And we have a third term, which is the combination of these two. So this is going to be X by Z. Remember, stroop is our X, the equivalent to the X variable in the picture that I showed you before. And VO2 peak is actually Z, right? And what we're going to test is the interaction between stroop and VO2 peak. So VO2 peak, I'm going to use asterisk here, by stroop, right? And we have an outcome, which is block design. And all these terms are what we call endogenous explanations or independent variables, right? They go here, this one goes here, and this one goes here. And let me just do straight lines. I hate these lines with that. That's not how I want it. Right? So this is the real model that we're going to run, right? This is more operative. We are making the other picture more operative, right? We are defining better what's going to be our model. And this is the answer for question number, let me see, number 6, right? Now, question number 7. Question number 7, yes. It's a question related to the previous figure, actually. It says, complete the following model representation and add the term that is missing to the estimated moderation model. That's kind of weird. But yeah, in simple words, what is missing here in order to estimate a moderation model? Following the previous picture that I showed you.
The VO2 times.
Exactly. That's what is missing. Exactly. VO2 peak times stroop. The multiplication, right? That's what we call the interaction term. We also call it, some people call it moderation term because we are testing moderation. But the most accurate number is interaction. So we are testing interaction. Moderation is about interactions. That's why. So you are seeing how one variable or many variables are interacting with another. Of course, if you add a 4-way interaction or 5-way interaction, way more complicated to interpret that. Actually, it's hard to interpret the interaction after four variables interacting together. Is way more complicated. I don't even know how to interpret that. I haven't tried yet in my life because that would be way too complicated. And you have to just really justify why you want to make that type of nightmare model. Yes, it's just hell when you think about it. But a 3-way interaction is something common to see in psychology. And 4 sometimes, but more than 4, I don't know. I would have to draw a lot of plots for to understand, and marginal effects to understand how to interpret that. But yeah, you're right. So what we are missing here is the little piece of information. So let me go to cuarto. And that one is question what? 7? Yes, 7. So then we go to create here question 7. If you want to answer this question in cuarto, and you might be thinking, how do I add these funky Greek letters, right? Well, there is a trick for that. This is something called, I do this using LaTeX. You don't know LaTeX. It's something that we do in mathematics. We use mathematics and physics in other disciplines. But you can take the code from here. Check. I always add a source code. If you click here, you go to view source, This is the actual Quarto document. This is how I create this. Everything is open source in this class, so I share everything. And I do have the LaTeX formula right here. You can just copy this from here. Here. Why does it go? It's right here. Then you go here and look at how I'm doing it. I'm using $sign. You can use double $sign. This is telling to Quarto that we are running. Look at that. And it shows that render equation right here. And instead of the question mark, you can just type something like struct by build to peak. You don't have to do this, but that could help you to answer the question. And that's it. You don't have to write anything fancy, right? Just replace the question mark and just add the multiplication there. And that's it. Automatically, Quarto will show you these formulas in human language instead of LaTeX language. Or you can take a screenshot and just put it there. I don't know. Many things. There are many options. But this one is just the easiest one. And yeah, I don't have time to teach LaTeX. It's not necessary, probably for site makers. But LaTeX is a very useful language. And well, it's a markup language, similar to the one that we're using here in R Markdown. That's how it's called, markup languages. HTML is another markup language, just in case you were wondering. All right, maybe just go there. Cool. Let's come back. Questions. Hopefully, we will finish today. As I'm saying here, up to this point, we haven't estimated any moderated effect, right? We are just drawing pictures. And I spend some time with pictures because they are very useful when you don't know what you're doing. It's better to just draw pictures all the time, to draw figures, right? And understand what you're doing. In the seminar, probably I will teach you other ways to do more about pictures and figures and more complicated stuff. Not complicated, it's just kind of better models for some of the questions that you might have. Okay, so in question 8, I'm saying estimate a moderation model. In this model, VO2 peak is a moderator. We already know that, right? VO2 peak is a moderator in the relationship between block design and struct coder. And I'm saying that you may answer this using R or Jamovi. Actually, any question can be answered with R or Jamovi. If you don't want to use R, you can use Jamovi. It's totally fine. However, there is another question, I believe is here, where it's going to be a little bit harder in Jamovi. So in question number 8, we just need to estimate the model with the moderation. So let's do that. Let me just do here. We need to test the moderation. How do we do that? Well, we can take this chunk of code and I'm not going to use a scale for this model. I could, but just keep it without transforming the data. So as you remember, we are missing the interaction term. Well, we're going to create that one by just using asterisk, which is the character for multiplication in R, and also in Python it's the same. In other softwares it's the same too. And let me just see if I have the data here. Ah, yes. Right. And let me call this mod. Okay. Something like that. It's here. Sorry, I need to call the library parameters. There it is. Here. Sorry about that. I was using the wrong bit here. That's better. So now in the output, we have an extra term, which is the interaction term that we were missing before, right? So let's see what's happening there. If we check the slopes, they become negative, right? Look at that, VO2 peak and strip color. Remember that they were positive before, well now they are negative. That's because the interaction modifies the slopes. That's our hypothesis. We think that this interaction will change the relationship, and actually it does. It changed the slopes from positive to negative. Now, you might be, it might be tempting to interpret these slopes, but you can't. When you have a higher order term that is not explained by chance, you have to interpret the higher order term. In this case, the higher order term is VO2 peak by strip color. So you have to ignore the interpretation of those slopes because they cannot be explained if you don't explain the interaction. They don't make sense without the interaction. So you have to explain the interaction in order to understand why they are negative, right? So when that happens, yeah, just forget about those ones. We're going to do extra steps in order to understand that interaction. Now, the p-value is 0.06, and you might be thinking, well, that's a little bit larger than 0.05, right? That's our threshold. That's our rule of thumb. Well, that's true. If we apply that rule of thumb, that strict rule of thumb, we would say that this interaction term is explained by chance, and we will drop that term saying, hey, that's not meaningful. But we don't do that here. Why? Because the 0.05 rule is just one sloppy rule in statistics. What is the difference between 0.6 and 0.06 and 0.05? Nothing. It's only one number, right? This is still very meaningful. It's telling us that that interaction has a probability of 6% of being explained by chance. I can live with that. 6% of chance that this is explained by chance is totally fine, right? I can live with that. And actually, I would keep the interaction, saying, no, man, the 0.06 sounds like a reasonable one. And especially because I'm lacking sample size here. So probably it's lack of power. If I had more people, probably it would be a smaller p-value. So I'm fine with that. Especially for teaching, it's fine. So I would call that totally is something that is not explained by chance. And actually check the confidence intervals, right? They are kind of a slightly, the lower bounds closer to 0. So yeah, we could say that there could be something around 0, but it should be fine for the sake of this exercise. Now, you have evidence that there is an interaction, right? The interaction cannot be explained by chance. So that means that VO2 peak is really a moderator, right? That's the conclusion. VO2 peak is actually a moderator. Something is happening with VO2 peak, but we don't know we don't know the details of the relationship. We only know that the interaction is not explained by chance. Well, we have more information, but it's better to plot that information later. So, for the sake of question 8, you can interpret that direction term of U to be 1 true. Not explained by chance. Right. Yes. P value is 3.06. Oh. Now, what happens when the p-value is very big? What would happen if the p-value was 0.8, for example? Well, in that case, I would totally drop the interaction, and I would say there is not interaction, because it's telling you that there is 80% chance that the interaction term is explained by chance. So 80% chance that everything is explained by chance is a lot. So I would totally conclude that there is not an interaction. There is not a moderated effect if the p-value is very big, right? Like 0.80 or 0.70. I mean, that's just huge. So I would keep a model without the interaction. But in this case, we cannot do that. That p-value is small enough, right? Now, in question number 9, I'm asking you to estimate something called the simple slopes. And I mentioned that in the lecture before. In order to do that, we are going to use the package interactions. And you can see the code right here in these slides. And actually they are, see. Oh no, these are the steps that you need to do in Jamovi. If you want to do this in Jamovi by hand, you will have to do this by hand in Jamovi. But in R, you just have to install the package interactions and just run this line of code, and that's it. You will get the same information without doing extra steps. Just in case you complain that R doesn't give you something automatic, well, actually, R will give you a lot of things in an automatic way. I just need to know the functions for that. But yeah, we are going to use interactions for this question. So let me just do question 9 here. And just copy this part because I will explain you more about it. Remember to install this package in your R session, right? Every time you see a new package, you have to install it only once in your life. Then the package is going to be there in your computer, right? You don't have to install the package every single time you open the code, right? If you get problems with interactions, let me know. Especially Chrome users, you might face some problems with interactions if you don't have an extra library in Linux. I believe all of you have it already because I installed a library there for you, and I believe the other student who was here with a Chromebook. I installed the library in Linux, so it should be working. But if not, let me know. We can fix it. For Windows users, it should work out of the box. It should be fine. And for Mac users as well, it should be fine. All right, so let me just call the package interactions. And what we need in this function, which is called simple slopes, what we need is an object that is a model. So in this case, our object is going to be this one. And this function is expecting to see a regression that has a moderator. If you don't have an interaction term, the function will tell you, hey, there is no interaction term here. What do you want it to do, right? So if that regression line has an interaction term that we have here, of course, it will give you a solution. So let's do that. Like this. Now, in this argument, it's asking you for the predictor. In our case, the predictor is a stroop. So we should copy exactly the same name from the equation, exactly the same, and just put it here. You can type it down, but if you make mistakes typing, you will have a lot of problems, and just because it's not exactly the same name. And our modulator is built to peak. So I'll copy this right now and just paste the name right here. I'm gonna press, well, I'm gonna keep it true. I will explain you why. So if you run this, well, I'm ready to run this right now. You just have to click here. Okay. You know what? Let me do it without this plot first. So it's a lot of information in one city. Let's call it false here. Okay. So that will give us this information here. So the first thing that we should pay attention is to this part that says simple slopes analysis. What the function is doing is analyzing the relationship between stroop and block design at 3 different levels of VO2. The first level, or the first regression that it's doing, is at -1 standard deviation. That means that this is the slope when people are on the rate of change, right? Or the relationship between stroop and block design when people have a low score in VO2 peak. So they are below the mean, right? It's -1 standard deviation. That means that they are below them. So they don't have a very good cardiovascular fitness. So the slope is 0.21. So the relationship is a little bit smaller when people don't have a good cardiovascular fitness. When they are at the mean, the slope is 0.36. It gets higher, the relationship. So the relationship between a stroop and block design is stronger when they are at the mean level, because the number is larger, right? It's telling you that the rate of change is larger. And let's see what happens when people have excellent, or at least very good cardiovascular fitness, right? When they have a VO2 peak score that is around 26.06, right? And look at that, 0.51. So what is the story here? It looks like it's telling us that the relationship is really different depending on your oxygen level, right? Depending on your cardiovascular fitness. When these people had a very good cardiovascular fitness, the relationship between stroop and block design is stronger, right? That means that the VO2 peak, or your level of oxygen, is actually playing a game here. It's playing something, right? And then actually was expecting that, because I know that from previous papers. I know that your cardiovascular fitness is totally related with your cognition, right? And of course, relationship between different cognitive variables is going to be stronger if you do more exercise, right? So that's what is happening here. Now, you can also check the p-value. It's telling you that the relationship between VO2 peak, between block design and stroop and block design is not explained by chance when people are low in VO2 peak, right? The same happens at the mean level. When people are around the mean, right, or center at the mean, right, the relationship between stroop and block design is not explained by chance. And when people are high on VO2 peak, right, the relationship is not explained by chance as well, right? That is good. This could be different depending on the topic. You could find a moderating effect right? Where the relationship is not, it is explained by chance at some levels. And that's also a finding, right? Now, you might be thinking, what happens if I, instead of doing these regressions at 1 standard deviation above and below the mean, what happens if I use 2 standard deviations above and below the mean? Yes, we can do that. You can actually take, for example, if you have enough sample, you can center the whole score towards people who are very low, like 4 standard deviations below the mean. People who actually just walk 5 steps and they sit down, right? They couldn't go further, right? So you could actually do that, right? You can pick any number by convention, just because it's a tradition in science. We use 1 standard deviation above the mean, 1 standard deviation below the mean, and the mean. But you don't have to use those ones. You can use any number along the distribution of your modulator, right? Any number. You don't have to pick good ones. It's just for us, it makes sense to talk about standard deviations. And it makes sense that, 1 standard deviation below and above should be enough, right? But you can pick any one. So this is the way you interpret the interaction. As you can see, I didn't interpret the slope of VO2 peak and the slope of stroke by itself. What I did was to estimate different regressions at different levels of a modulator, right? That's how we interpret these models. In the following question, and I'm going to go faster because I'm running out of time. And now I'm running out of time. Now it's true. Look at what I'm asking you here. Are simple slopes at the 3 different levels of VO2 peak explained by chance? The answer is no, right? Because the p-value is less than 0.05, right? And we should try to interpret the slopes, right? You should say something about the slopes here. And you can say that the relationship between troop and block design gets stronger when participants have a higher score in cardiovascular fitness. Right? This is shown in the slopes estimated 1 SD below the mean, at the mean, and -1 SD at -1. Right, something like that, right? Something around those lines you can write right there. And finally, I believe that's the final question. Oh, I'm happy that I managed to finish. I'm asking you to create a figure. And I know that when I ask for a figure like this, probably you get like shaky and anxious, right? And you drink coffee and I'm like, well, what I'm doing here. But if you click here, you will see these beautiful plots. And we will do the same. For this plot, we are going to use the package marginal effects. Exactly as I'm doing right here in this piece of code. And we will do exactly the same plot, but instead of stress and depression, we're going to use our model. So let me copy this code. You don't need ggplot. ggplot should be called automatically by marginal effects. And you have to install it too. Remember, you have to install marginal effects. This is another package that might give some problems to Chrome users. So be aware of that. If you're using Windows, it should be fine. In Mac, it should be fine too. Let me just go here, and this is question 10. Question 9. I don't know anymore. Question 10. So we will need another chunk of code. And I'm going to paste the code right here. Let me delete ggplot. I don't need it. I already called the package marginal effects. It will tell you something like this. Don't worry about it. It's just other packages are using similar functions. So it tells you, hey, there's another package using the same name, and it should be fine for this exercise. So in here, where it says plot predictions, we need a model. We are going to use this model right here. It's a model that has the interaction. In my case, I call this model moderated. So I call it mod. So I'm going to use this and this object right here. In condition, as you can see, we are indicating to the function which variable is the moderator and which one is the predictor. So in our case, the predictor is struct, right? So let me just copy exactly the same name because I get angry when I cannot do it. So I just copy exactly the same name right here. Oh, sorry, no, it was a predictor. Sorry for that, Struct color. And now, in the other line, we need the moderator. The rest can be the same. It doesn't matter, right? In here, we're saying that we are going to use the rule of -1 standard deviation, the mean, and +1 standard deviation. That's what it means, 3 none. I know that's not the best label for that. I didn't program the function, somebody else did it. Actually, the person who programmed this package is amazing. He's an amazing statistician for sure. He created an amazing package. I really admire his work. He did a lot of good work in this package. And it makes my life easier, to be honest. All right, and we are going to change the title. So this is the relationship between struct and block design. Block design at BU2P, which is our moderator. And let's see if it works. Oh, well, I will need actually in this code ggplot2 because I'm using one function from there. I'm using this theme classic right here. This comes from ggplot. You can delete it if you want to. If you want to keep it, you will have to use library ggplot2. You already have it because ggplot2 is part of tidyverse. So you should have that one already in your installation. Now let's run it. Enter. It looks amazing, right? It's lovely. I love plots. I really love it. I should create art with R. Actually, did I tell you that you can create art, real art with R? You can plot very complicated multiple spatial and multivariate relationships and create random numbers, and that creates art. Actually, I can show you later one that I have around there. So there are some people just, of course, you have to kind of know the equation and add some random noise, and it creates beautiful things. I can tell you later. I love that. I want to do that in the future. When I want to retire, I can do some digital art with art and share the code. But it's kind of nice. But yeah. So look at what is happening here. This is way better for understanding what's going on. These are the slopes that I just show you in numbers, but now we have it in lines, right? So let's see what happened. So remember, VO2 peak is our moderator. So the blue line is the relationship between block design, between Stroop and block design. Let me see if I can make it better. I just want you to see the whole thing. Probably here. Sometimes it doesn't work. Our studio has a lot of glitches everywhere. Today it worked. Okay, so the blue line is the relationship between Stroop color and weights in block design when people are high on VO2 peak, right? When they have a very good cardiovascular fitness. And it actually is steeper. Look at that. It starts, the intercept is around 20, right? And they go up, right? And that makes sense, right? If you're good, if your body is good, the relationship between Stroop color and block design is way stronger. When you are at the mean, it's still stronger, right? It's still good. I mean, it's still strong. At least it's stronger compared to the people when they are -1 standard deviation below the mean. That means that when they don't have a very good cardiovascular fitness, which is the red line. In the red line, you can see, yeah, it's smaller. And actually, look at what happens. The intercept starts very high. They start at a very good point, right? At 20, which is interesting. They start at 20, what is that? No, like 30, right? And they start at 30, and then it decreases. The rate of change kind of goes down. The relationship is, in other words, the relationship is fading down. It's going towards that the relationship doesn't exist anymore if you are very low of VO2 peak, right? So, in other words, the relationship holds when you have a very good cardiovascular fitness. So, there's another implication for this model. This model is telling me as well that the model might not be a good model for people when they have a low performance. So probably this is not the best model. I need to find other ways to measure performance, physical performance, for people who don't have a lot of physical activity. Because I'm missing how to explain the relationship. So there might be something that we can do. That's another conclusion out of this model. And in that question, I'm not asking you for any interpretation. Just create a plot, yeah. You don't have to interpret the results for that one. And yeah, I believe I'm gonna stop here. I'm running out of time. Questions so far? Kind of okay with this explanation? Can you make it at home?
I hope so.
Yes,
If I get stuck, I'll email you.
Yes, of course. Of course. Well, you can. I'm very sure. Just follow the video and also follow the code. Right? Change some values. It's exactly the same code, right? There's nothing tricky or anything like that in this assignment, right? We didn't have time to cover the multiple choice questions, but they are just 11 questions. I don't think it's gonna be hard for you. But if you have questions or some doubts about those questions, please just send me an email, right? But they should be easy to understand, I guess. Well, my English is not the best sometimes. You get lost in translation, I guess. But let me know. Let me know. And thank you, people. And I just want to say that it was a pleasure to be your professor here. It was really a pleasure. I hope that you learned something. I don't care about grades. That's why I don't have hard deadlines. What I care is about your experience, like how positive or negative it is. For some of you, it was a nightmare. You still hate R, and you still hate me. I know. I see it in the evaluations all the time. And I can live with that. I know that your hate is not towards me, but it's towards the content. And I know that some people dislike statistics and research, and that's fine. That's totally fine. You don't have to dedicate your life to do researching or something. Right? But thank you. I will see you, some of you, in the seminar online. And some of you might see you later. I don't know. and here in Stockton or online other classes. So hopefully we'll see you around. Thank you so much for your patience with me.
Thank
I really appreciate it. The same for the people online. Thank you for your patience. And I know it's hard to understand many things that I explain, and I'm very, how can I say, sometimes I get too excited about the content that I miss to explain carefully some details, and I apologize about it. I'm learning how to communicate this in a way that is easy and faster, and something that is applicable for your academic life. That's what I want. But thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Professor.
Yes.
I said thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Okay. Tell me.
Let's see how you changed the code question.
Yes.
Just work.
Number 9. This one right here.
Oh. You'll be posting the videos soon.
Yes, I will upload the videos tonight. At least tonight.
Wait, what video?
The videos for
The recording?
the recording. Yes.
Oh, okay, the
Yes.
recordings.
Yes.
I thought I missed
I'm
something.
sorry,
No, you're